Pixar tends to make their movies with 4 demographics in mind. Kids who will enjoy the movie for what it is, adults who will approve of the underlying message, critics who will critique the flawless animation and technical aspects, and finally, a demographic most filmmakers don't go for, the observant people who notice the secrets of the little universe they've created. I mean, just look at John Negroni and his Pixar theory. It's pretty great, and it shows that, well, Pixar has these people in mind. Luckily, I'm one of the people who strives to unbury the lore, and so, after scanning the movie inside out very carefully, I found secrets that line up with things that so many other people have been saying, and I think I'm close to finally piecing together some of the biggest Pixar mysteries. Hello, I'm the Theorizer, and I hope you like my new intro. I never got a chance to talk about it in my last video, but I've stalled for long enough on this theory, let's just get into it. While scanning through Inside Out for clues and hints, I came across something that to my knowledge nobody has noticed yet. Ellie from Up is framed in Riley's childhood house, and to be more precise, the exact same picture that Carl and Ellie had in their house. At this point in time, we know that Pixar is far from doing anything randomly, so we have to take a moment to consider what this actually means. When a framed image is seen recurring, it usually means that a family has followed the tradition of sharing that same image. Yes, as crazy as this may sound, I think that the Anderson family is related to the Fredrickson family. And this is just a theory, of course, not a fact, so not everything will line up perfectly. You see, Ellie's family is sort of like a hub for Pixar's secrets. There have been many theorists on the matter, most primarily including the Super Carlin Brothers YouTube channel. But I suppose that I too will get into this long story. Emma Jean. Emma Jean is the name of a woman who is found as the sender of a postcard sent to Carl and Ellie Fredrickson. This card can, strangely enough, be found in Andy Davis's bedroom, and even stranger, up on his wall. In John Carlin's interview with the director of Up, Pete Docter revealed that Emma Jean was a previous love interest of Carl Fredrickson. He said that before Ellie, he had Emma, and that after he married Ellie, they were all still good friends. And what stumped everybody, still to this day, is that in Toy Story 3, you see that letter addressed from her to them, on Andy's wall. Why? It's just so out of place and completely random. Not. Nothing is random with Pixar. Once Pete revealed who she was, people sort of stopped trying to figure things out, even though it was only half solved. And today, I'm gonna finish this long-awaited answer. How are these families related? And I'm so excited because it's time to make my favorite thing, a family tree. Fun fact, I used Ancestry.com to trace my family back several generations and managed to get 3,500 people on it. Oh, and for those Once Upon a Time fans, don't worry, when Season 6 finishes, I'll be right back on that tree. Ugh. That thing's a mess. Alright, I'm getting distracted. Let's start with the basics. Carl and Ellie Fredrickson are married. Carl had a previous love interest to Emma Jean. Andy Davis is the child of some man and Jennifer Davis. Yes, that is her official name by Pixar. And yes, I realize that there is a very popular theory that she is Emily, the girl from Jesse's past, but it too is just a theory. And her official name sort of goes against that theory. Anyways, other child, Molly Davis. Riley Anderson is the daughter of Jill and Bill Anderson. The Inside Out Essential Guidebook reveals this. The only strange things I noticed when scanning the movie is that Jill's credit card says K. N. Anderson, but I may touch upon that another day. Also, up on the wall, there is a certificate for a man named William Anderson. Bill is short for William, ergo, their names are officially Jill and Bill Anderson. So we have our 3 separate trees, and now we must find a way to connect Emma Jean to the Davises and Ellie to the Andersons. That is not an easy task at all. As I previously said, recurring pictures are ones that are usually given out to extended family members, so we do know that at the time of Inside Out, Ellie is old, right as Riley is young. Excellent. What are the possible combinations here? Well, Ellie can't exactly have children, so that's out of the question, but she can adopt, and we see just how important children are to her and Carl. But we never see or are made aware of any kids in the whole movie, and we just need more to prove that. So let's quickly try the other trees. Is Jen Davis the child of Emma Jean and Carl Fredricksen? Well, that was a bomb I just dropped. Surely many have considered this though, right? Well, finally, we can prove it. And as a matter of fact, we can also place Jill under here too, because it doesn't quite look like she's gonna fit under adopted. Okay, if you're a little bit lost, that's okay. I'll explain this part now. Right now we are trying to prove that Jill and Jennifer are the children of Carl and Emma. Numero uno, the assumption must be made that Emma Jean and Carl Fredricksen actually had a child. The timing for this is fitting, but not fitting like the size of your clothing, more like the fitting of skinny jeans. It works, but it feels a little uncomfortable, unless you're this guy who seems a little too comfortable. But the only jeans we'll be dealing with today are of the Emma kind. You see, Carl is born in 1931, and he and Ellie get married when he's in his 20s or 30s. There is certainly still time to be with Emma Jean, and most definitely to have children, but it just feels a little weird. If these women are in their 40s, it actually does work swimmingly though, and do you know what? They appear to be. So timing, although iffy, still checks out. Numero duo, genetics. Can't forget those. And so I will be frank with y'all. Oops, I intentionally said y'all again. The genetics here match up, but you guys hate it when I deal with genes, so the only genes we'll be dealing with today are of the Emma kind. Irregardless of my deoxyribonucleic puns of repetition, Carl's eye color is identical to Miss Davis's eye color, and it's blue, a rare trait. Their hair color is also the same. When not old, Carl had brown hair. Miss Davis's roots are brown, she just changes her style a lot. So Emma and Carl's children would indeed match the genes that we see, and the time that they take place also fits. And that always helps. But the real question is, why does Andy Davis have a postcard from his grandma and her new husband to his grandpa and his new wife up on his wall? Why is it that important to him? And still, where does Ellie's framed picture in Jill's house fit into all of this? And the question on everybody's mind, who is Andy's father? And as you'll see, we solved a couple of questions, but now we have 3 more. This is gonna get real messy real fast. We know that Emma Jean's card implies that she is far away and is with somebody else. Andy has pinned it up like it's actually worth something. Why is it there? Who is Emma with now? Great, 4 questions now. But if I must, here is a brief summarization of what we've covered, or tried to cover so far. After having Jennifer and Jill, Emma and Carl split. Carl then married his childhood BFF. Emma moved on, but as Pete said in John's interview, they remained good friends. And Emma went on to marry... we don't know. But what I find most important right here is that the time they get married and divorced and all that is right in the 50s, according to Pete. And what do we know that happened in the 50s? Woody and his Roundup gang were created. All of this loops back to who his father is, since it's very likely that Andy was given Woody by his missing father. This is just way too complicated, but I refuse to back out of this like I have other topics. I'm far too into this one now. It's driving me nutty. Pixar has broken me. And that couldn't be more perfect. And just to clarify, we know that the Andersons are related through Jill and not Bill, as they would have the last name Fredricksen if it were Bill. Jennifer Davis and Jill Anderson, maiden names Fredricksen, are the 2 children of Emma and Carl Fredricksen. Emma's maiden name is Jean. Divorcing his wife due to unspecified complications, Carl then marries Ellie. They all still remain friends, however. So we now have the not necessarily correct, but best fitting answer to the configuration of these 3 families. And yes, without getting too into it, this whole family follows the rare trait, and most of them have blue eyes, like Granddaddy Carl. Some people, yes, this includes the Carlin brothers, have questioned why Riley looks so drastically different from her parents. Well, genes can skip generations. This is also seen in Molly Davis, who has similar genes, the blonde and the blue eyes, but her mother doesn't have any of that, and Carl fits the bill with his blue eyes. The only questions we have now are, who is Andy's father? who is Emma Jean's significant other, and why does Andy have a letter from his grandma and her new husband to his grandpa and his new wife? Those are the trickiest ones to figure out, and I have no answer. But we can brainstorm for the time being. Losing his father to a clearly recent breakup is something that would take its toll on Andy. Naturally, that's the way with any divorce, especially an obviously nasty one like this. No sign of a father at all. It's almost like Jennifer has wiped the house of everything that was his. And she has. Which makes it nearly impossible to decide who the father is. Sorry, Maury, this is even beyond your capabilities. However, you'll see that I said it's nearly impossible. Nearly. Since Andy has kept such an obscure and random postcard in his room, I have reason to believe that it is somehow linked to his father, and Emma Jean's new love interest. This is just an idea to quickly ponder. Andy's grandparents gave him their postcard to give him hope of seeing his father again, to show him that it was possible for parents who break up to keep happy with each other, that a recovery is a possibility. That's all a boy would need in a situation as such. Yes, that is what I'm going with. And who is Mr. Davis? We all know that he'd keep the last name Davis with him, so all we need to do now is scan all of the Pixar films for someone, anyone, or anything with the last name Davis. Well, naturally, I found absolutely nothing. Maybe figuring out who Andy's dad is simply isn't something that's meant to be. But I'm not going to give up so easily. What I want you, the viewers, to do is scan through the films if you can, and make sure to comment who you think he is. We are looking for someone preferably with blue eyes and brown hair, who lives in the Tri-County area. If you cannot find an actual character, do an analysis and scan for anything throughout the movies that says Davis. We can solve this. It needs to be answered, or in the least, solved for this theory. It's possible that it can be Bill Anderson, but timing isn't evidence, it's convenience. And that would be, well, just conniving and deviant of him. The gals would probably kill Bill. And now, who is Emma Jean referring to when she says we? Who is she with now? This is equally as hard to solve as the strange case of Mr. Davis, but who is it we should be looking for this time? Well, we need to look for an old man with an old woman in a Pixar movie. That is literally all. If you can find that in any of these movies, we can use other strings of evidence to possibly connect everything together again. Now go out and look for Mr. Davis and Emma Jean's significant other. Last but certainly not least, as it was the basis of this entire video, why does Emma's daughter have her stepmom framed in her house? Because she is her stepmom, a major impact on her life, a motherly figure who likely lives closer to her than Emma does, based on the Pixar tree and the wishing you were here line. Finally, I reviewed Up's wedding scene, and to my surprise, I certainly did find a little something. Emma Jean. Maybe. If she truly is friends with these people, she is most likely to be at their wedding, and with a new man, right there, in the front row. It's entirely possible. And what's this? A daughter, maybe? Who knows? I will return to this when I have enough information to successfully conclude some theories. Let's solve those mysteries. YouTube needs to be far more interactive than it is. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video, and soon we will cover the Polar Express, The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I'm going to take one last shot at Ratatouille. Here are some recent videos you can click to watch. Here's my second channel, my Twitter and Facebook, and until next time, I'm the Theorizer.